Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the blue flame. How are we doing? It really feels like it's just one thing after another right now, doesn't it? We've just emerged out of the eclipse wormhole, that really powerful Aries supermoon, the biggest moon of the entire year. Many of us, myself included, may still be feeling a little wobbly coming through that massive energetic. It really got in there and did some deep, powerful cellular reconstructing work. And just as we're starting to maybe feel like we're getting our sea legs, we're starting to be able to move through this new current of energy, we have the Pleiadian Apex portal and Scorpio New Moon, which is what we're going to talk about today. We are moving through the final stages, those final rotations of Pluto at the 29th degree of Capricorn. And if you have anything at all at the end degrees of the cardinal signs or the very beginning of the mutable, this has probably been quite a journey this year for you, as we've been last year, as we've been moving through all of this deconstructing and revealing of old foundations that do not serve anymore. I'll share for myself the 29-degree Capricorn Pluto and the 0-degree Aquarius Pluto actually hits a trine with my South Node wobble, which is, I have the true at 29 of Taurus and the mean at 0 of Gemini. So there's, it has been really being moved through those channels of reclaiming gifts of the old incarnations, the old wisdoms that I hold. Whatever you might have in those 29 and 0 will help indicate the places that you're navigating. One of the reasons that we're starting this update with Pluto is because tomorrow, I'm recording this on the 22nd of October. Tomorrow, the 23rd of October, the sun enters Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is the sign, of course, that Pluto rules. It is the season of the witch. Pluto, the lord of the underworld, and the sign Scorpio transform through shadow. They reveal that which has been occulted or hidden. Now, this year, we are being gifted a journey into Scorpio season that is really epic. So we come into the sun at the 0 of Scorpio, just as Venus, now in Sagittarius, begins to move through the great attractor energies. So that 13, 14 degree point of Sagittarius. Now, this is putting Venus, the great attractor, stays put, basically. Stays put. Anything in the cosmos doesn't really stay put, but we call it fixed. In a square with the retrograde Saturn in Pisces. So as we're moving into the season of transformation, we find our planet of love and desire coming into the sign of seeking higher expression. casting vision higher, engulfed in the flames of higher wisdom. This is Sagittarian energy. It's higher education, wisdom. It's the archer, the female centaur, casting arrow to the heavens. It helps us to remember that the journey is seeking for finer and finer, higher and higher expressions of life. Okay? So let me feel for a minute, because we really dove straight in. So we come into the sun in Scorpio. We come into the outward expression of self in union with the depths, the ground waters, those emotional and sometimes kind of stagnant feeling energies. Remember, Scorpio is a fixed sign. It moves in the subtle realms. As the sun continues its progress on the 26, 27, 28, this is when Venus comes into the exact square, the exact conjunction with the great attractor, and the exact square with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. This is a gifting energy, helping us to come into greater contact with the emotional structures and foundations of our internal being, and bringing more flow into those depths, bringing more flow into these depths. Now, one of the beauties of the great attractor being part of this party is that the great attractor is a massive garbage disposal or vacuum. It sucks everything in at astronomical speed. It helps us to transmute and release stagnant energies very quickly. We simply open up. We can connect into it inside of ourselves. We can connect into it by casting our explorations to its cosmic location. We can call upon the energies of the feminine in that Venusian tradition and ask them to help us clear out this stagnation. So this is how we're entering Scorpio season. Now, I call this the Pleiadian Apex portal. The reason for this is because of what is happening as the planet of love starts to shift out of exactness with the conjunction with the great attractor and the square with Saturn. On the 29th, 30th, we have, of course, Samhain, All Hallows Eve, right? 29th, 30th, 31st, we come into that energy of Samhain, All Hallows Eve, with the Scorpio New Moon on the 1st of November. So we move through the portal of All Hallows Eve into All Saints Day on the day of the Scorpio New Moon. And then we rebirth from the void point of the Scorpio New Moon into Dia de los Muertos. This entire portal of energy from the last week of October to the first week of November is celebrated as a time of thin veils. In the Northern Hemisphere, it is the time when the season begins to shift to longer nights, darker days, right? This is also the time of year when the Pleiadian star system reaches its apex, its highest point in the night sky. The reason that we celebrate Samhain, the reason that we celebrate All Hallows Eve, and that there are so many festivals associated with, including Dia de los Muertos, associated with this time when the month shifts from October to November, is ancient remembering of celebrations of the Pleiadian apex point. So what we are actually connecting to is the energy of the seven sisters coming to their highest point in the sky, an indication in the northern hemisphere that the days are about to get darker, the nights longer, and in the southern hemisphere that the days are about to get longer and brighter. Okay? So we open into this energy with Venus conjunct the great attractor in square to a retrograde Saturn in Pisces. Now, Saturn is also still close enough to being exactly opposite to Sirius, which means that, of course, this is a T-square, right? Oh, I'm sorry, trine Sirius. I'm sorry about that. The T-square is with Jupiter, and I'm feeling that energy already. So, opposite, trine Sirius, Saturn, square Venus, the great attractor. And then we come back to Pluto at the 29 of Capricorn. Here we find Pluto, who's been dancing in a trine with Alcyone at 29 of Taurus. So as the Pleiades are reaching their apex, their highest point in our night sky, Pluto getting ready to shift from Capricorn to Aquarius, which will happen on the 20th of November, is exactly trine to them. We have a tremendous opportunity to connect in with the foundation, the elemental structure of our beings. The Pleiades, Alcyone, the great central sun of the Pleiades, is powerfully and deeply connected to the elemental physical structure of not just human life, but all life on this planet. When we hear somebody like Carl Sagan say, we are made of star stuff, this is in effect what they are talking about also. We can get really scientific and talk about how everything on this planet and in this solar system is made up of the particles that exploded out of the Big Bang. From a metaphysics perspective, when we connect in with the Pleiades, with Sirius, with Arcturus, with Betelgeuse, with the Andromeda Galaxy, more on that in a minute, we are connecting in with our stellar parents, our stellar lineage, if you will. So, let me feel here. We move through an energetic that allows us to clear out old, stuck energy from within the foundations of our emotional being. That's Venus, conjunct the great attractor, in square to Saturn as the sun has entered Scorpio. Now, as they do the stars continue to shift and us to orbit and to spin. And we come to the Scorpio new moon, which is occurring at 9 degrees of Scorpio on the 1st of November. This new moon is in trine with Sirius, close enough anyways, and Saturn. So Venus meets with Saturn first, and then the sun and the moon. And Sirius has been there all along. We are being shown that it is time now for us to bring those old, unconscious thought processes up, to connect in with the demons, those things within us that we have told do not belong, and to give them agency, to find them risen and us with them. As this new moon is occurring, we find Mercury, the messenger, at 28 of Scorpio, almost exactly opposite Alcyone and opposite Uranus and Magdalena. Feel into the awakening energies, the new earth, the transformation cycle as Uranus has been moving through the sign of earthly manifestation, Taurus. Now feel that as we reach the completion point of Taurus, we find Alcyone at the 29th degree, right? Uranus, Magdalena, and Sedna are all moving retrograde together right now. We have Algol there as well. Right? Uranus at 25, Magdalena at 26, and Sedna at the 0 of Gemini. Sedna is an underworld Inuit goddess. She helps us to connect with those deepest depths of our emotional being as well. This moment of Scorpio Mercury at the 28 also puts Mercury in trine to Mars, which will be at the 29 of Cancer on this new moon. Getting ready to tip into Leo for its brief foray there before it turns around at the beginning of December and begins its retrograde cycle that will last until the new year, into the new year. So here, Mercury the messenger, trining Mars in Cancer just before it moves over into Leo, which is also trine to Neptune in Pisces retrograde at 27 degrees, which is in a square with the galactic center. Here we are showing ourselves, inviting ourselves to connect to both the deepest depths of our being, as well as expanding out to the very center of our galaxy. Now, an interesting note, something to play with in your energy system, in your mental body, and in your emotional body, your spiritual body. Our galactic center, the galactic center of the Milky Way at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, is exactly trine to the Andromeda Galaxy, our twin sister, at 27 degrees of Aries. Now, during this new moon, there will be a conjunction to the Andromeda Galaxy with Hygeia, a feminine white light healing Kundalini energy, spiritual hygiene, coming into greater connection with our spiritual practices, keeping our center. Hygeia will be exactly conjunct the Andromeda galaxy at 27 degrees of Aries, which means also, of course, exactly trine the galactic center during this Scorpio new moon. I bring this up for one very important reason. And I actually had to orientate my camera today so that you could see the grid that I have for my personal drinking water. We are entering a season where there is going to be a lot of noise, a lot of collapse. And as sensitives, as people who are here to hold the light, whatever frequency that may be for us uniquely, keeping our center of gravity, our balance point during this time is paramount. Finding ways that serve you to ground, to stabilize, to elevate your being, to hold your light, to connect with your guides, to connect with your higher self, to connect with the elementals and the earth, to keep your spiritual practices going as we move through this collective dark night. This is what Hygeia is a master at. She is so good at helping us connect to those places where it is harder to stay centered and to clear away deep, traumatic, stagnant, painful energy. When you connect in with white light or rapid healing light, be transference healing or Reiki or the type of blue flame light activations that I facilitate, however you work with that pulsing light that moves through your being. You can feel it when you hold your hands like this, pinging back and forth. When you work with crystals, you're connecting into this energy as well. You may feel that gridding the water that you drink with crystals will be helpful. Maybe it's singing to the water that you drink or leaving it out in the sunlight or the moonlight. The things that you bring into your body, cleaning them before you bring them in. These are all practices of alchemy, spiritual hygiene. So like you take a shower or brush your teeth, you clean your aura, you grid your home, you grid your body. The other day, I was awakened at almost 1 a.m. and unable to get back to sleep, in part because my system needed me to run a massive diagnostics check after I had been sick to rebalance and equalize. These are going to be very important. Now, one of the interesting things with regard to Andromeda galaxy is that this is our twin sister galaxy in many ways. You can see that in the spiral formations and feel it in the knowing that sometime in the future, Andromeda and Milky Way will unify with one another. They are coming ever closer and ever closer, and the outer reaches of each of these galaxies is already beginning to touch. Now, Andromeda has already, in many ways, gone through the elevationary cycle that the Milky Way galaxy is currently going through. So we could call her kind of the twin that's also the big sister, right? In the span of cosmic time. And so when we allow ourselves to connect in with the energies of the Andromeda galaxy, we can start to future cast. We can start to feel the frequency that we are equalizing to. Now, it's also interesting, and I'm hearing that it's very important for me to point out that yes, Andromeda has gone through the transformative cycle that we are currently going through as the Milky Way. However, the one that we are going through here is unique. There are ways and embodied forms of this elevation that have never occurred before in all of the universe. It's huge and it's monumental. And when we talk about how there doesn't seem to be a break, we're just constantly moving through portal, through activation, this quickening energy that we're experiencing right now, it is because we're coming into that. That that really big push as the wave surges towards the shore might be a way to feel into this. Now, let's take a moment and remember that Hygeia and the Andromeda galaxy at 27 of Aries also puts them in a T-square with Mars at 29 of Cancer and Pluto at the 29 of Capricorn, really helping us to come more and more and more powerfully and passionately into our true galactic sense of belonging, to that remembering that I am another yourself, releasing old ideas of separation, and also holding that true light of unique beingness that is such a powerful aspect of this new phase. This is a cardinal grand cross because Juno is at the 29 of Libra. So here we have, once again, like we did for the Aries full moon, Juno moving in an energy with Mars, really bringing home that sense of self and inviting us to feel all of those ways in which the families we were born into may not have felt like ours, all of the ways that our young selves felt like we didn't fit in or that we didn't belong. This is very true for those of us who are connected to the blue flame. It is very true for those of us who are sensitives, who are intuitives. It is very, very true for those who are crystal or indigo children. All of this is bringing us into connection with one another. We are in a period of massive shifting of our telepathic, embodied creation, our shamanic giftings. When Pluto entered Aquarius in the spring for that brief foray into Aquarius, one of the things that I shared is that a big hallmark of this Pluto in Aquarius energy is shadow work for everyone. Now, this does not necessarily mean that every person on the planet is going to go through a dark night of the soul, although we are going to be experiencing a collective dark night for a little while. It is more true, however, to say that we are going to have greater access to our unique medicine, our unique shamanic gifts. And as the nodes next year shift from Aries Libra to Pisces Virgo, we are going to be asked to bring them forward more fully, to share them more wholly with the world. So yes, a pretty big Scorpio new moon, right? I haven't even gone into all of the energies. There's so much dark goddess energy as well. We have Medusa conjunct Hecate conjunct Lilith, all in Libra. They are sextile to the Sekhmet great attractor Venus Kali conjunction, right? I didn't even mention that Sekhmet and Kali were involved in that, did I? They're making a T-square with the Hathors at 14 of Capricorn and, of course, Sirius. There's that Sirius T-square. I knew there was one somewhere. So we have the Hathors, that interdimensional beingness energy, right? These beings of interdimensional compassion and love who are watching and guiding ourselves. We are also, some of us, connected to that plane that the Hathors reside on and they who use Sirius as a communication portal are exactly across the wheel during this Scorpio new moon from Sirius. So can we use, play, dance with that energy? Absolutely. If you are called to work with the Hathors, this is a beautiful time to open to their frequency. If you have ever been called to the energy of Kuan Yin, the feminine Buddha, there's a very good chance that you will recognize the energy of the Hathors. The rose dragons are also an aspect of that energy. They are working with Vesta at the 2 degree of Libra, exactly conjunct the supergalactic center. As we move through this powerful portal for connecting through the veils that is the apex of the Pleiadian star system, that is Samhain, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, Dia de los Muertos, and this year the Scorpio new moon. As we emerge from that energy, we find Venus at the 1920 of Sagittarius now. dancing exactly across the wheel from retrograde Jupiter, who is the ruler of Sagittarius. Both Venus and Jupiter are called the great benefact. They are both considered to be beneficial. So feel how they dance. Venus in sign of rulership of her dance partner. Exploring new ways to communicate. Exploring new ways to communicate. Inviting us to communicate in new ways with more love. Expanding our capacity to communicate with our hearts. As this conjunction happens, this opposition, Jupiter is first the leading party. As they move through, Jupiter exchanges the leadership role. They come into union and they part, and Venus continues forward while Jupiter continues back. This is an invitation for us to feel what capacity is leading in our dance of life. Are we being led by old ideas, old voices that have been running the script? Can we let go of some of those old mechanisms of control and allow more grace, more flow? And here you can feel that Saturn in Pisces energy again, can't you? As this opposition is happening, we find Venus exactly trying Chiron retrograde. Here we can see and feel all of those deep internal mechanisms of, but if I allow those old mechanisms of control to fall away, will I be abandoned? You may have a lot of triggering coming up about this during this portal. This is coming through to help you rise to the occasion. As this is occurring, we have Anubis in Aquarius and Inanna, another form of Venus, right? Exactly trine Jupiter, forming an air grand trine, Inanna in Libra, Anubis in Aquarius. Both Anubis and Inanna also have very powerful underworld energies. They invite us to connect to the heights and the depths, to rebuild and reform ourselves. Before I close today, a couple of things. First, of course, if you want to see the chart I ran, head over to the Patreon. There will be an attachment of the chart there that you can look at. You can download it, you can keep it, you can join the community and experience this beautiful reading that came through that's working through this Pleiadian Apex portal. On the 26th itself, I am leaving the United States once again and heading first to Lisbon and then ports and points beyond, though I'm not exactly sure. At this moment, all I know is that I am boarding a plane at SFO on the evening of the 26th and flying to Lisbon. And I believe that I will be there, which is why I ran the chart for Estral on the new moon. We will have in the members portal, the container of the members portal in the blue flame, our new moon circle. The exact parameters of that are still forming, but I will be in Europe. And this brings me to something that I haven't talked about a lot, but as Jupiter and Venus make this journey together in the United States on the 5th of November, there's going to be an election. What's going to happen as part of that election? We can feel and we can think that maybe the stars can tell us this or that. The truth is, there are still far too many potentialities, too many timelines. We haven't locked in on a single one. When we're gonna connect into quantum physics to help us understand what I mean by that. The quantum particle resists identification until the moment of measurement, until the moment of observation. The same is true for the potentialities. There are many potentialities. Nothing is fixed or set in stone. There are, if this happens, then that is likely to occur. What we can feel is where the current, where is the river carrying us? And where are we rowing? Where are we carrying ourselves within that current? What we could say is that the moment of the counting of the ballots is that moment of measurement or that moment of observation. And we will have a better idea of the trajectory, the various potentialities that still exist based on that measurement. One thing I can say is that since last summer, my higher self, my team and guides have been saying to me that it is very important that I be outside the borders of the United States during the election and in the time just after. The reasons for this, I do not know. And I have just been asked to continue to feel in at each moment, to keep my system clear and clean, to allow the states of dis-ease to move through me in the way that they need to move through me, and to be prepared to move when the time comes. Each moment as I've felt in, it is still true that I need to not be here. There could be so many reasons for this guidance to have come through. So I ask you not to try and read into why I received this guidance, but simply to allow it to be a touchstone for you to feel into what is it that you need. If you already do not live in the United States, as this powerful moment of transformation and transition is happening, because though it is a local election in the United States, the energetic, the current in which it is happening is global. So what are you? How are you called to be the light, to move through the current as this is happening? For me, like I said, it means not being in the United States, being outside and holding space for everything that's occurring here with other expats, other people who are who were born in the United States, but who have been asked not to be in the borders of what we call the United States during this period. Holding space for the people who have been asked to stay and connecting in to all of these energetics. One of the ways that we can feel into this is the global grid network, the ley lines, right? And the torus fields of our heart, mind, and sacral centers. We have an interweaving nature. We're going to use our personal individual torus fields. We have that beautiful electromagnetic torus field that expands out from our heart space and back in, that rotates and carries a current of energy along various lines that emerges and returns to our heart space. We have one that is the electromagnetic current that runs through our mental plane, connects into the center kind of that area of the pineal and expands out. As it expands out and as the heart expands out, they touch one another, they interconnect. We also have an electromagnetic torus field that emerges from our navel, our sacral center. It connects in also at the tailbone, and it expands out, carrying the electromagnetic current of our centers of creation around our body. As it does, it interweaves and interconnects with that torus field that moves through our heart. And as they grow, they begin to interconnect also the sacral and mental. This is the same as the energetic that we hold when we work the grid as light workers. We connect in from the point where we are. We allow the torus fields of our heart, our mind, and our sacral to expand out, to begin to interconnect with the light workers who hold the frequency, all of these lighthouses, each in a grid point, and it channels energy within the Gaia grid of internal energy, i.e., through the waters and earth, and also the atmosphere. It connects in with the massive torus field of the earth, which connects in with the torus field of Venus and Mars and Mercury and Jupiter and the asteroid belt and Saturn and Neptune and Uranus and Pluto and Chiron and the sun. And the sun's torus field connects in with Alcyone and Sirius. And here you can start to feel that whether it's during the US election or during the Scorpio new moon or any given Tuesday afternoon, those moments when we connect in with our light and allow it to expand out, we are receiving and transmitting love. And this is helping elevate the entirety of the universe. So that's my advice. As we move through these darkest nights, as we move through this collective dark night, however it should manifest, however we each individually experience it. Connect back in to your heart. Remember why you're here and what it is that you uniquely have to offer. And then offer it. And then offer it. Feel if there's any last little pieces. I'm going to have more oracle transmissions coming through. I believe I'll have another one. This one's going to continue to hold the space for the entire Pleiadian Apex portal. But there's going to be some add-ons, if you will, energetically for daily draws. I think the next one's coming on Thursday. So those are available to the entire Blue Flame community, whether you are a paid member or not. All you have to do is join the community. If it calls to you to become part of the larger community, as far as that paid portal, to journey in transmission and activation every new moon together, to receive the healings on the full moon, that would be amazing. There's a couple of different stations that you can board for that. Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be heard. You can do that in the comments below. You can do that in your community, in your family, in your relationships, whatever's true for you. And as always, in the always, from, through, and beyond the all dimensions. So much and many loves. Deepest gratitudes. And if you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.